Hey viewers, and today we're going to be doing the virtual date logo. We're going to be doing it from scratch in Figma. So if you're a beginner, this is going to be a really nice intro into Figma, which you can download if you go to figma.com, and it's free to sign up. So for any beginners, if you've never used Figma before, I would highly recommend it because A, it's free, B, the tool is super useful, especially for web design. And I'm an old school Photoshop user. I've used Sketch, and then recently, the past year, I've been using Figma and highly recommend it. And I've been using it to create logos, web designs, everything. So if you go to figma.com and you see you can sign up. You go to features and then downloads. And once you're on download, you can just download the Mac or Windows. I'm on Mac. So once you've got that, just open up Figma, and what you'll see is a blank canvas. So just to show you what that looks like here. So you're going to start off with maybe some templates, and then what you can do is just hit the new button on the top right, or you go to the menu, which you can't see, and you can go to new file. So if you hit new, you'll be presented with a new blank, how would we say it, a new blank document. And the first thing I've done, I've just created a frame and just some to-do lists. So again, if you're a beginner, I'd highly recommend diving in, practicing along, because these logos are going to be super simple, and I think they're pretty good because, I'll let you be the judge of that. So what we're going to do again is we're going to look at the shape of the logo. We're going to look at possibly 2 choices of fonts, or even 3. We're going to think about color, and then the last bit is making the logo responsive. So how does it look when it's in a smaller size and a larger size, when it's stacked, when it's aligned to the left, things like that. So what we're going to do, we're going to kick off with the shape. Okay, so when I talk about shape, is what type of shape do you think best represents the brand? So again, we're doing virtual date, and it's fun, it's modern, simple. So you can think of circles, squares, but because it's dating, the obvious one is a heart shape, right? So we got Tailwind CSS UI, just grab that one. We just bring that shape over. I'm just gonna make this bigger, so times by 4 up to 96, right? So just to remind ourselves, we got the heart shape, and in order to make the logo icon, we can look at the initials, sorry. So if I go to T, which is the text tool, and then I just click, and I'm going to start off with enter, so virtual date, and then I can Command C, Command V to copy, and then I'll just look at V and D. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it really big, just so I can see what we can potentially play with. So V and D, and then bold as an example. And starting off with Inter, which is a very clean sans serif font. So thinking of shapes, we're thinking of the shape of the icon. We're thinking, how can we incorporate the initials or just one letter into this shape? So you might have seen some other logos I've done. I like to make this a bit unique. It might not be unique, maybe someone has done it already, but the point is that we're practicing, we're having a go, and you should have a go, see if you can make it your own style, or how you think it would best suit the audience. So anyway, so thinking of shape and the font. So just as an example, even Figma's logo, they're using shapes. So what I'm going to do straight away is I'm going to create 2 shapes, and let's go to 96. So what I did there, if I go to the circle ellipse tool, click there, if I hit this constraint proportions, I'll say 96, and they both be 96 because I'm using the 8-point grid. Everything is in multiples or divisions of 8, maybe. Maybe I explain that really badly. But the point of using an 8-point grid is you don't have to think too hard about what sizes to use. So anyway, there's one shape, right? And then another shape to represent the V is a triangle. And if I right click, flip vertical, I want to make this the same height as that, so I'm going to create that as an outline stroke. Right click, outline stroke. If I constrain again, I'm going to say I want that to be 96 height. So now it's the same, and you can kind of see where I'm going. The triangle represents the V, and the O or the circle represents the D, but it doesn't look like a D yet. So the nice thing about Figma is you can go and hit the edit object, and actually this is why you should be using a square actually. So if I go to, if you went to rectangle, tap on the screen, constrain again, let's say 96. We're not going to use the circle, and I'll show you why in a minute. So here you can click again on edit object, you can select only that, how do you say, vertice, and then here I can change the corner radius. So I'm going to go with 80. Ooh, even that, could that look like a D? Interesting. Well, again, you can play around, right? So we're already 8 minutes, geez. And here I'm going to go on the bottom right corner and I'm going to say 80. So now what we have is a really nice D silhouette shape, and that is it. And this is quite a modern trendy thing that you can see happening at the moment. It's just converting the letters into a shape, and it's very simple. So we've done one shape, and then the other shape is going to be a heart. So if I just grab that, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. I'm going to edit this to look like, well, you'll see in a minute. So if I go in, so at the moment it's a component, so I probably rushed this too quick, but the Tailwind CSS UI, you can find this in the Figma community. So let me show you how to do that. So if you go back to the Figma icon, you can go to community, and this is where they have a bunch of really good stuff. So here just type in Tailwind CSS, and this is the one that I'm using, Tailwind CSS UI by Florentine Eckel. Hopefully I pronounced his name right. And you can just duplicate it, and that will become available in your area. I don't know how you would call it, but it'd be available in your area, so you can go to recent and you can find it there. But what we can do is go back to here, and we're going to edit this shape. So one thing I'm going to do is just take it out of that. Well, you can't because it's a component, so I'm going to detach it. And now I'm going to just play around. So here I'm going to bend tool. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to delete some. You'll see why in a minute, and it might not look like it. So I'm deleting these. And here I'm just going to get the pen tool, and I'm going to continue here. I'm going to hold the shift so it's going to align with that one there. And that is it, right? You're thinking, what am I doing? So the way I'm thinking it, this is like the V in a heart silhouette, but also it's got the D, that kind of that D shape as well. Maybe not, right? But I'm trying to make this a bit unique. And then we can bump up the thickness, and that is looking nice and round and friendly. So again, the brand, we're looking for fun. Probably friendly is another good thing for a dating app. So again, we got this is quite the serious techie kind of look, because we're looking at the tech community, or you got a more of a fun kind of style. The way my preference is going towards this, so I'm thinking, yeah, the V. So we thought of the shape now. We've got two different logos, icons. Now we're going to think of the fonts. So this is the nice bit now. So I'm just gonna group that. Can I vertically line it to the top? Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that. And the reason why I like to copy is because you'll have a nice reference of how you started from nothing. And the font that I'm picking for this one is, of course, Inter. Sorry. So Inter, I'm not sure if that's on Google, but you can download this font for free. And so here I'm just going to put virtual date. Let's make that way smaller. So that is really so that is really clean. We are going to go with semi-bold. We are also going to see how it looks when we reduce the letter spacing, because it is quite a big size. So, and what I'm going to do as well is put this in a frame. So if I hit the F key, you can select some predefined frames. I'm going to go with the iMac, and I'm just going to Command X, bring that here, just to see how it looks on a nice white background. And the magic now is if I select that one and that one, holding Shift down, I can then do Shift A. This is now converting it to an auto layout. And you don't have to do this, but what I love doing here is spacing it out really nicely. So let's say exactly 40. And we can even vertically align in the middle, which is really nice. You've got vertically aligned there. And we're actually going to make that the darkest grey. Nice. Okay. So we got some nice, very simple, clean. And yeah, let me know which one you like at the end of this, right? So we can quickly reverse it and test it out. Okay, so we are then going to make that dark grey, and then we're going to make all of those the lightest grey, and that worked very nicely. Wow. Okay, so we got the very clean version there. And it's just a nice simple practice, right? It doesn't have to be a crazy logo, especially for a startup and especially for a project. Again, keeping it really simple for me is always best, because you're going to have it, you're potentially having so many different platforms, mediums. The simpler it is, that the more, how would you say, the more flexible and versatile it will be. Okay, so that is option 1. And then option 2, we are just, actually we'll just copy these and then drag it down. We are going to go and copy that and bring it in. I'm going to delete that one, and then here I'm just going to hit the left key, and then I'm going to bring that in the middle. So this is obviously a lot smaller, so if I bring the height up to 96, that's better. Same thing, I'll copy that here, paste it in. We want that to be the lightest grey, and bring that over there, delete that one. Okay, so the other font we're going to go with is, we're going to go the opposite and go with something more fun, and we're going to go with Nonito. And this is the font that's being used on Clubhouse, and Clubhouse has got that very fun kind of look. So here we got virtual date. Saving here, we go to Nonito, and we can see we got 2 different styles. So again, let me know which one you would go for, right? So another thing we can do is we can match the thickness, or try and get the thickness the same as the text, or the other way around. But I'm thinking, okay, let's make that, what if that was 16? That's way too thick. So let's say 12. Okay, 12 is looking better. I think 12 is close enough. Nice. Let's vertically align that. So you can use these tools up here where you vertically align the element or the frame. So I'm just doing that nicely, just so things are nicely, perfectly aligned in the middle, which is just so nice about Figma. So here, if you're used to Illustrator, this is obviously not as powerful as Illustrator, but when you're trying to do something simple like this, it's just so easy, as hopefully you've seen. So the last thing to do is, well, not the last thing, but we also got to consider color. And color for me is going to be quite a straightforward choice. So if we're looking at, what I'll do is, if we are looking at Tinder, for example, they've got the red and the orange. Red is for passion, for love, for all that stuff. We are not going to go too different from that. So again, the thinking behind this is, if you're looking for a job and you want to apply to a startup that is social or in the dating industry, then you want to try and be different from them, because if you're going to show your work to them, you want to try and align with their tastes and their target audience. But sometimes you don't want to go too far from what they have. So again, I'm just going to keep it simple, and the decision is red. So here, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to change all of those. Let's say rose. Nice. Okay, that is pretty nice, right? Same thing here. I can go here and go rose and rose, and then here I'm going to make that rose. Whoa. And rose. Whew. Okay, so you can see the nice thing about logos is you want to try and make sure that it works with one color, one solid color, and you reverse it in black and white, and you have the color version as well. So now we've done the color, and then the last thing to do is to test out a responsive logo. So if I copy these, so what do we mean by responsive logo? What we want to do is test it when it's small, when it's vertically stacked. So here, what I'm going to do actually, well, rather than do variants, we're just going to keep it simple. So if I just copy that and I just stack it like that, straight away we have a vertical version, right? That is just really nice. And I'll do the same here. How does it look vertically? Probably need to reduce the space. What if I made it 0? Yeah, that is better. So here I'll do the same, see how that looks. Okay, that's pretty fine. Okay, so that is one test to make it look. How does it look vertically? How does it look? Sorry, that's the horizontal, this is vertical. And then another test to do is, how does it look when it's smaller? So let's say we brought this down to 48. We also have to reduce the thickness down to, let's say, 8. This one we're going to bring that down to 48 as well, and we bring it down to 8 thickness. Is it still legible? Is it still readable? And this one we're going to bring that down as well. We're going to get rid of the negative letter spacing, because when it's smaller it needs a bit more breathing room. And so here we can even bring this closer as well, let's say 24. And here, what did I say that was? 64. Okay, so here we go, 64 as well. Get rid of that. So now we're seeing it in a smaller version. You can see it's still going to be okay, right? And then the other thing to do is, let's make it even smaller. So now we are going to see how this looks in 24. Okay, 24 is going really small, and we made it a stroke width of 4. This one, can we make it 24? Nice. That is pretty cool. Okay, now if we made that 2, okay, yeah, the thickness is good, and we make the spacing a lot tighter of 8 or maybe 16. Okay, so we're on 21 minutes already, so I'm not going to do the other one, but that's something you can practice on. And then the last thing here is, let's also make that 24 height with a 2 pixel thickness. This one we're going down to 24. So now we just got that really nice, really nice, how does it look in a smaller space, and that's pretty important. And that is responsive logos. So we've done, just to recap, we started off with some simple shapes. We created that with some shapes, and then we played around with the corner radius to get the D shape, and we're using Inter font for the more serious techie look. This one we're going for a bit of the heart. We just remove some of that just to show the V and possibly the D shape as well. And we got the Nonito font, which is round, so it's going off to that round shape, round corners for fun. Again, that's one of the brand values that we set in the last video. So again, we're just testing it in black and white, and now we've chosen our color, which is red for passion, and red for dating, red for love, that kind of thing. And then lastly, I'm not going to have time to do this one, but we just quickly tested this in a horizontal vertical. We've made it smaller as well, 48 heights, and now this is 24. This is probably typically what you see on a website, virtual, yeah. So I hope you found this video useful. Please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, pardon me, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, just before you go, I just wanted to show you one last thing, which is a comment from a viewer who said, can you save these logos as PNG files? And I forgot to show the end process on all these logo videos. So for example, if we were to go with these, what you can do is we can label these. So we can then say logo vertical, we can say logo horizontal. Here again, you just say logo H small, just naming them very quickly. Logo V small, probably better like that. And let's see if this actually works. So I can go, if I just were to select all of them like that, I can then go to this export, and I want it to be PNG. I can choose the size. I'm just sticking with 1. Export 4 layers. And this probably is a bad example because you'll see why in a minute. So I'll just save this to the desktop because they're all whites basically. Yeah. So, well, actually it's not a bad example. So here you can't really see it that well, but now you've got the PNG, you've got the other PNG, and there you go, you can see that a bit better. So yes, you can export them all to PNG, JPEG, and let's do a different example. Let's say we were to export that, just select it and then go to export, and then we'll go to the desktop we didn't bother naming that. Oop, did that wrong there. And then if you just click on it, there you go. So now you have the PNG ready to go on the website or wherever you're going to put it. So yeah, hope you found that useful.